Many people arrive in property via a background of IT, finance, planning or construction. As a result, the importance of brand is commonly misunderstood and therefore treated as an optional extra. This results in low visibility and an inconsistent perception of your offer. Branding generates a dialogue with your customers. Your brand builds relationships and has the power to profoundly influence your success. Property business owners should know that through widespread use of social media and 35 billion Google searches happening daily, brand building happens constantly whether you like it or not. I'm one of the few people in property circles who has a history of working in advertising and brand media. So in this video I'd like to share some of my top tips about brand and give you a 4-step system to build your brand in property. Your brand can be summed up as the consistent expectation others have of you. These days, due to sharing of photos and information, almost everyone has a personal brand, even babies and animals. But if you're running a business, you need to build a corporate brand too, and either link your personal one to it or build a Chinese wall around it for reasons I will go on to explain. If your property business is engaging with the lower end of the market, for example, if you're marketing yourself to homeowners of cheap houses who need to sell them quickly, it's a good idea to keep your personal brand completely unrelated to your corporate one. The reason for this is that people who need to sell low-end houses for cheap prices will have a bias against the greedy rich people they think property professionals are. It wouldn't help you negotiate that below market value deal, would it, if you were to turn up in your new Mercedes and an Armani suit, dishing out thick business cards sporting a Mayfair address embossed in gold? You'd do much better to turn up in an old banger with scuffed shoes, jeans and a check shirt, with no business card at all, or if you really must, a cheap one from Pronto-Print. So, if you're in a low-end type of property business, your brand needs to be functional rather than flashy. It should convey helpfulness, compassion, trust and speed. Your personal identity will be pretty off the radar as you don't want your property owners finding out any more about you than they need to. But you'll still need to connect with investors who you're going to sell those deals to, joint venture with, borrow funds from or teach. So this is where the Chinese wall has to be built and a different, more polished side of you needs to emerge. If, on the other hand, you're developing and marketing properties at the 5 million plus end of the market, your corporate brand needs the shiny embellishments of the other luxury brands your customers regularly consume. In this instance, your personal as well as corporate brand has to tell a high-end story. At this level, people differentiate themselves through the brands they choose and the way they spend their money. Yes, at this level, you're seriously into lifestyle marketing. Anyway, as promised, here's your 4-step system to build your brand in property. Step 1 is positioning. Positioning is a concept at the heart of brand marketing that involves creating an overarching headline that differentiates you from your competition. You have to decide whether you have the type of business that should be linked to your personal brand or whether you need to build a Chinese wall between the two, as discussed earlier. If the latter is the case, you need to create a positioning statement for your business and a completely different one for you as the person that shows up in property circles. You also need to decide in ratio terms how much emphasis you want to put on your corporate as opposed to your personal brand. In development, it might be 60-40, for example. If you're a mentor, it might be 80-20. If you're in B&B sales, it might be the opposite way around. It's very important that your personal as well as corporate brands resonate with your authentic offer and that you're able to follow through from an experiential point of view. There's nothing worse than a glossy promise that masks an unethical and disorganized approach. This is the fastest way to destroy credibility, not to mention your actual business. Remember, positioning expresses a powerful intent that you need to deliver on. It's how you show up in business as well as life. Step 2 is brand strategy. This is where you crystallize your offer and the value you're bringing to the market. What do you want others to associate with your name? Is there a particular subject in which you want to be perceived as an expert? Or are there more general qualities you want linked to your brand? What is it you want others to know about your business? And does this match with your delivery? Write this into a few sentences and review them frequently. Remember, authenticity matters. Never promise something you can't follow through on. A brand that lacks integrity is not really a proper brand at all. Step 3 is brand expression. Think of this as the tone or filter you put on your communications. So think about your visual style, logos and tone of voice, as well as your positioning and ratios as expressed in step 1. Where do you sit on the spectrum of words such as safe, innovative, creative, and so on? It's important to revisit this frequently and keep both your profile and your brand communications up to date as your business evolves. If you're focusing more on your personal as opposed to corporate brand, remember you should also guard against being perceived as narcissistic. So whatever post you put out, think about the value you're creating for your target audience. What is the takeaway that will either help, inspire, or entertain them? Step 4 is your brand system. Where, when, how often, and in what form do you show up? For example, I made a decision earlier this year to build high-level credibility by only attending property events where I was either speaking or hosting. Other decisions I made were to spend 30 minutes a day on social media and to put out my YouTube videos twice a week. Systems need to be properly implemented rather than picked up and put down again when you get busy with other stuff. So if you can't do everything yourself, engage the power of leverage and get others to do it for you. So to sum up, to have a successful brand in property, remember my 4-step system. Step 1, positioning. Decide on your ideal business to personal ratio and create unique overarching statements for both. Step 2, brand strategy. Define your unique offer both for your business and for you personally in an easily understood form. Step 3, brand expression. Think of this as tonality. How business focused or warm and personal do you want to be? How are your posts, videos and blogs going to create value for others? Finally, step 4, brand system. What habits are you going to adopt to ensure consistency across multiple platforms, off as well as online? My name is Jane Baylor and I'd like to welcome you to my video series for property entrepreneurs like you who want to be the very best and most successful versions of yourselves. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and leave a comment which I'll read for sure. If you've got ideas for other topics you'd like me to address in my series, please suggest them too here, as I want to create incredible value for you. Thanks for watching and getting all the way to the end. It's great to have you on board.